Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Well, good evening, the Coffee Club. It's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. We have some new details to go over. Please come on in, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get to it.
Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration.
Come on in, guys. We got some new news to go over in the case of Nancy Guthrie.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, 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 today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation.
Why, thank you there, true crime junkie. It's nice to see you. Thank you for the love and the support.
Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
you were supposed to go to this, but it didn't, so I went to this. It's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We're covering the case of Nancy Guthrie. Nancy Guthrie, 84-year-old grandmother that was snatched from her home, from her bed, in the middle of the night while she slept, and she has not been seen or heard from since. Now, there's been a lot of speculation going on with this very specific case. A lot of speculation bringing in her brother-in-law, I should say son-in-law, which is Savannah Guthrie, which we all know her from the Today Show. She has a sister and a brother. Brother lives in Vermont. Sister lives in Arizona. Sister is primary responsibility of mom, right? She's the closest one to mom, 10 minutes away. Anytime mom needs something, Annie or her family has to take care of that. So is this something along those lines, or is this truly a ransom? I really don't know. This is not my family. I don't know these people. We're only outsiders looking in, trying to make heads or tails from this. So I try to remove as much emotion out of these cases as possible so I can analyze them accurately. And now with the help of AI, I'm able to plug a lot of stuff into a program. I'm able to get some stuff out of that program. And so that's what we did today. I took the time, I went through, and I was able to take all of the interviews that law enforcement have provided. I was able to take the statements that were provided from the children, and I was able to plug all of this stuff into AI to find out, what does AI think about this? Is this really ransom material? And while we can't dismiss the ransom, because even though very rare, it's still a possibility, and it truly is, because we have had people kidnapped for ransom in the past. But it's very, very few and far between, because it just doesn't work this day and age. It just doesn't work, right? No matter what, nobody ever comes home safe. That's why it doesn't work. Nobody trusts anybody, right? You just kidnap their loved one. You're not willing to, say boo to them. You're not willing to have contact with them. You're not willing to show them that the person is still, still alive, proof of life. So it starts getting really hairy with these ransoms. They just don't work, and probably why people don't do them. And so when I was going through this whole entire scenario, I'm still trying to make heads or tails of whether or not this truly is a ransom. And I've just never felt that way. I've never felt that this case is a ransom case. I feel like that aspect of the case is a hoax. We do have some new information kind of coming out. I think I'm on the wrong tab. There you go. Who is the person that called this thing in? There he is. Okay, if you guys don't know who that is, this is the person that ended up hijacking the ransom and saying, hey, give me some Bitcoin. This is the punk that is now behind bars in Los Angeles that ended up getting, from my understanding, getting Annie's phone number and trying to intercept the Bitcoin ransom drop. So this is I'm sure, parental disappointment, to say the least. He looks like a punk. He looks like he's got no future. He looks like he has no future. He looks like a punk. 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 So whatever. There he is. He's in jail. He's behind bars. And then, of course, we're going to come back here to these lovely ladies, okay? Neither one of them I really care too much about, but their talking points are spot on, okay? For this case, their talking points are spot on. So we don't know what happened, but obviously Ashley Banfield raised some major concerns, right? Ashley Banfield raised some major concerns on her show that the son-in-law is under investigation. The car had been towed. The car has been impounded and is logged in as evidence and got a search warrant for it, not voluntarily turned over. And that's the point they're trying to make. And like I said, yeah. You got it, Denise. You got it. Ding, 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 ding. Yahtzee. Anyways, guys, we had a lot of bombshells from Ashley Banfield, right? On a serious note, Ashley Banfield pointed fingers directly at the son-in-law. And that doesn't take, we don't take that lightly. I mean, she's been in the business for a really long time. She's used the proper words to protect her and cover her own ass, from defamation or other things. In all fairness, she did. I went back. Oh, maybe, right? So they're in the spotlight. At minimum, they're limited public people. So the scrutiny is a lot elevated legally, in the legal sense. I know that doesn't mean a hill of beans to you. But the people like me, it means a whole lot, okay? It's basically our rules that we have to, follow. So Ashley, I have in the past known her to do some sneaky shit. I'm not going to lie. I've been watching this lady for freaking 30 years, okay? I've watched her over the course of her life do some pretty sneaky shit for ratings and stuff like that. So I'm not going to deny that, okay? Megyn Kelly, quite frankly, the same. Okay, not really too fond or friends or buddy with these two ladies here, but in all fairness, in this sense, to me, they're making sense. So I'm being as honest with you guys as I could possibly be. Okay, so I put a heavy amount more of scrutiny on these two ladies than anybody else, just to let you know. Okay, and I still am in processing the information and jive with what they're saying here, based upon my experience and covering these cases to all of you, right? We've been doing this for several years, and it's not just about the cases we cover. It's also about the cases that we have to review and study in order to cover the cases that we cover with all of you. That's the important stuff. That's where our experience comes from. I mean, because if we look at just the amount of cases we've covered here, we haven't really covered, over the last 5 years, we've covered probably about 25 cases over 5 years. That's not a whole lot, right? But we've reviewed hundreds of cases to talk about those cases, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases, went through hundreds of interrogations and interviews over the years in explaining these things or understanding. I've watched many people, Kylie Rodney, I don't know how many people freaking drowned, right? Or how many cars get sunk. I can't tell you how many disturbing things that I have had to watch and witness to be able to explain those things or understand a case. So I'm coming from a place of experience, right? And so I understand that these ladies have a lot of experience and they have a lot of people that they've, rubbed elbows with over the years. Like I've got some people that I've rubbed elbows with over the years that I can, call for some guidance in areas. Do they really have, this is my first question, do they really have a direct connect with somebody that's working this case either at a state level, a county level, or a federal level? Would they know somebody? They would know somebody. But would they have the proper credentialing that somebody can get into a case, look at the case, evaluate the case without being noticed and give her information? Because I'd have to think that the FBI investigators on this case would probably want to see who's all has looked at this case to find out who would be leaking information. For somebody like Ashley Banfield, I have to assume, and this, this is an assumption, that she either has somebody at the state level in Arizona or somebody at the federal level. And so that should be easily. Most people have logins to be able to look at stuff, and you have it's almost like a key card, right? When you swipe the key card, everybody knows who went in and out of that door. It's something like that they should have. These are federal agents. These are state agencies. These are real criminal cases. People have to log in. They should be able to somewhere see those logins and who has done that. So I'm interested in who she knows that gave her this information, because in all fairness, somebody did give her information. And here's why. Because one, the sheriff was a little shocked. Okay. Two, he refused to answer to disprove or prove what was stated by Ashley. He wouldn't touch it. He wouldn't touch the. There was a couple things that he wouldn't touch. He wouldn't touch. He said that they have not identified any individual for a person of interest or anything like that. Has no idea why in the world anybody would say that. Has not identified, suspect has not been identified or person of interest. They've never said that. They've never identified anybody. So on the record, nobody of interest or person of interest has been identified. The other one that he stated what he wasn't talking about was the cameras. He wasn't going to state whether there was forced entry, whether there was multiple cameras, whether those cameras were smashed. He refused to acknowledge anything. But the one thing that he did acknowledge was the fact that the car was towed. So if the car was towed and he's refusing to answer any of these other questions, we have to ask ourselves in a common sense manner, is it plausible? Is it plausible that all the other information is also true? If she got the car being towed and impounded, would the other information be as well? Because before that broke, I don't believe people were over at Angie's house like they are now. It looks like it's a media circus at two separate locations. There's media at Annie's house sitting on that house, and there's media over at Nancy's house sitting on that house. All the kids are over at Annie's house, and the crime scene's over at Nancy's house. So this is really, really, really interesting. But here's what I've got to tell you. When we plug this stuff in, when we're looking at the statements of law enforcement, when we're looking at the statements of the investigators, even the AI system acknowledges that we have an issue here. That the fact that this person or persons most likely were not. Now, they didn't remove it completely off. I'll read it verbatim here in just a little bit. But it's the least likely of scenarios. Least likely of scenarios. And we also heard that her net worth is like $2 or $3.5 million. Nancy's net worth. So we've got some interesting stuff, to say the least. So she did have some money. We don't know the financial situation for anybody else in the family other than her daughter, Savannah, which has got pretty much public, information on that. So I still am trying to figure out about the spots at the front door. I don't like those. And it does almost feel like she could have been attacked there, but not, because the weird part about it is that there's no shoes. There's no footprint. There's nothing. It's just weird. And I just don't believe that she was taken out that way. I don't know why. But maybe she was, but it's weird. The whole thing at the front door is weird. And of course, they're not telling us because they're not acknowledging. Anyways, let's get back to this. So more information came out. I thought this right here was just a cut and paste from yesterday, because sometimes you have, lengthy lives and maybe 4 or 5 different segments of the live, right? And sometimes you'll segment those out. So if you have 5 segments in your live broadcast, you might take the first segment out and make that its own video, the second segment out, make that its own video. I probably need to be doing more of that because, some people even on the replay crew may be able to watch the replay for the first half an hour, but it's something closer to the end they're not going to stay for. So maybe getting that clipped out and cut out and moved, and put it in its own video, maybe it'll get a little more attention. So maybe I'll start doing that. But this is what happened. So this is what she did. She had, the stuff out yesterday. I saw her on yesterday, and I didn't think anything of it because you don't really see Ashley Banfield and Megyn Kelly kind of doing these duo platform things. But, now that Ashley Banfield's kind of on her own, it makes you wonder what's going on here. And Megyn Kelly's been on her own as well for quite some time. So long story short, it's interesting seeing them, but they had some questions and some criticism for the local news out there that was asking questions during the press conference. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this roll for a little bit. We're going to let it play for a little bit, and then we're going to get to our first discussion topic, and then we'll let it play again, and then we'll get to our second topic. I'm not really a Banfield lover, but that's a personal issue. Not that, I've seen her do some shenanigans over the years.
Of them did a good job, but there were some glaring questions.
But I think in all fairness, if you've been in the biz long enough, everybody's done a little shenanigans in the biz, to be honest with you.
Questions that were not asked. The timeline was changed dramatically on Sunday morning.
That is a true statement. Why does this keep clicking off? This is starting to piss me off. Oh, because you decided to do that. Good gracious. I should not have to be going through this. Ah, good. Now, if that wasn't a day late and $1 short, I don't know what is. Well, hello, Sonia. Hello, The Real Me Too. It's nice to see you. I think the FBI is actively gathering evidence on a suspect. They intentionally lead the public astray if their investigation is in jeopardy. I agree with that. And I think that the, every time I bring up the son-in-law, for me personally, before I even plugged it into AI, I really thought that this, he does kind of fit the profile. He does make sense. He's the last person that saw this woman. Anything could have happened. Why he did it, I don't know if we'll ever know. We may know if it is ultimately him, but it just makes sense. You know what? Since those oven baby. Well, thank you. Look at that. Because I'm a love machine. Ow! Oven Baby gifted 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, don't forget to tell Oven Baby thank you. And Scully, it's nice to see you. You got a membership. Marchell, Laura, you got a membership. Love you the most. And Mama Bear, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the insane asylum. Grab your straitjacket and your padded room and welcome aboard, folks. It's nice to have you. If you don't know how this whole chat thing works, you see people and you see all the colors and you go, what is all that? What is all the colors? The blues are your mods. Those are the people that love me dearly and put up with my bullshit. Okay, and those are our moderators. So they're the ones that crack the whip. You act out. They're the ones that boot you out, right? Then you see the people in green. And the people in green just love Bullhorn Betty. They say, "Oh, I'm so in love with Betty." Ow! Betty walks around like, what? Right? And so the people in green say, we love Betty so much, we want to gift to her monthly. We love her so much, we're just going to support her. So those green people are the people that just are super Betty lovers, right? And then everybody else is the rest of the Coffee Club family that just loves to come over here, chit chat with you, and hang out. And you know what? You know what they do? They give me thumbs up, and they sit here and share my stuff out. So if you came across me because of somebody else, those people in white are mostly the ones that say it. Betty Brian Enton just put out another communication just arrived. Another communication just arrived, folks. Another communication just arrived. It is starting to get a little hot in here. We're not believing the ransom. Now it looks like we are getting some confirmation. Let's go over here to the X. I'm assuming that's where he's at, the X. Let's see what we got going on with Brian Enton. Brian Enton. Is that what we're seeing? Hey, brown chicken. It's nice to see you, love. I hope you are doing well. Let's see what we got, guys. We got some breaking new information. Breaking information right now. Breaking in the last 14 minutes. Incoming. We have breaking. The FBI and Pima County Sheriff Department are aware of a new message regarding Nancy Guthrie. Investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity, folks. So we might be getting some new information that is just coming out in the last 14 minutes. There is some breaking news information coming out in Nancy Guthrie's case. If you guys are just coming in, we are just now learning that there has been a new communication received. A new communication received. I may be totally off base with this. We will not know until we know. But I'm just saying, this is too sus for me. Too sus, too sus, too sus. So we are getting back with the AI. The AI is saying the probabilities on this is very, very low, but believe it or not, it does say we can't dismiss it. It does say we can't dismiss it. So we'll get into all of that here in just a little bit. But before we do, let's get back to the ladies. They got a lot of information that they are going to be discussing, and it does kind of make sense. It does kind of make sense.
What this sheriff had been saying to us before
Ashley
was
should be
that
sued for being a ratchet reporter.
At 11 o'clock, or just after 11 a.m.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Yep. That's what we were just reporting. Tennessee Dreamin'. Another ransom note. If you guys are just now coming in, we do have breaking news. Not a whole lot of information out, but there is a new message. They are reviewing it for authenticity. They are reviewing it to see if it's coming from the same person, which again, just weird. Let's just click on here and see what some of the comments are saying. Well, hi, Scooter Booger. Hi, little boo-boo. Yes. No. Mommy's working. Mommy's working. I know. All right, come. Come on. All right, little girl. So, they're saying Harvey Levinson's clue. I mean, who? Where did it come from? Oh, here. Let's see what we got.
Other things. The letter. People have been asking, does it seem like it's written by just a crazy person? And the answer is no. This letter was very well constructed. It had structure. It had a beginning, middle, and end. It was well done. I mean, if you took this letter to an English teacher and said,
"Ooh,
give me notes on structure, on grammar."
Who's a teacher? Yes, we did get that. That's what the other. I'm just scrolling down in his thing. There it is. This is on the note. This is on the note. It just broke about 15 minutes ago. Breaking: the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department are aware of a new message regarding Nancy Guthrie. Investigators are actively investigating the information provided in the message for its authenticity. So, yes, we are aware that it is a new one. I was just reading some of the comments that are attached to it. And so here I was just going to see if we could get any new stuff attached to it. So this is pretty interesting stuff. We're finding out right now. Breaking news. New ransom has a new communication related to the ransom has been received, folks. Has been received. So they will be finding out whether or not this is or is not legitimate, and will probably be listening or watching over it. I do believe these are legitimate, but I believe that the person is still trying to throw people off their scent. And if they do have legitimate stuff being authored in these, then this will be interesting. This is going to be very, very, very interesting. I hope they have everybody in the family at least under what is it? Under surveillance. Good gracious, couldn't even freaking speak. All right, so let's get back to what we're here for.
On Sunday morning, the family was notified by a friend in the church who noticed Nancy didn't.
Oh, I'm going to go back because
Here's the
they also address the craziness about the church thing. We've heard only on one channel, which was released by the Daily Mail, but I had only heard it on Pascal's show, and I didn't know it was because of a report from the Daily Mail that she went to online church instead of physical church. So I don't know about that, but they're going to get into all of that almost all up front. So hold on.
the other thing that's really bothering me about. I agree with you that the reporters, many of them did a good job, but there were some glaring questions that were not asked. The timeline was changed dramatically on Sunday morning.
It was.
What this sheriff had been saying to us before was that at 11 o'clock or just after
proof of
11
life.
a.m. on Sunday morning, the family was notified by a friend in the church who noticed Nancy didn't attend, and they went over to her house, and about an hour later, they called 911.
Okay, and she's accurate. Remember, we discussed how we've been, we even picked up that they went to the house at 11. That's what the sheriff had been telling us this whole time. The sheriff, I don't know what is going on, but the sheriff had a lot of details inaccurate, and I'm pretty sure he was trying to be accurate with us. So it makes me wonder where the communication lacks was. Where was the breakdown of communication of what truly happened? There is no proof of life. It sounds like this communication is probably by the same method of communication the first one was. We learned that the first communication was by email. So I'm assuming that maybe this new communication that they just received, that we're just being made aware of in the last few minutes, is by email. Therefore, it may not have a proof of life unless it's an email with a video attached. We don't know what we're dealing with here, okay? And I just want to put this caveat out here. Just because I'm not on board with the whole we have, a ransom demand and stuff like that, just because, I believe that we do have a ransom demand. I just believe the ransom demand is either a hoax to throw us off the scent of somebody else, or is a hoax and somebody's capitalizing on this whole situation, much like that guy in Los Angeles did, right? Because there wasn't a ransom demand. So that's kind of where I am with the ransom demand. I'm not really into the whole, it's a legitimate, they will give the mom back if they pay the money type of thing. I don't believe that that's going to happen. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify my position, and I wanted to really make it sure you guys understand what I'm truly saying when I say about the ransom demand. But in all fairness, we even talked about it because it showed you just a few minutes with them calling law enforcement within a few minutes of them arriving at the home. What changed? Why did that timeline change? And why didn't anybody pick up on that? Why didn't anybody in the audience or the member, out in the press ask about that? How this timeline changed so incredibly much. But let's listen to this.
That was the story this
That
whole week.
created a lot of consternation.
Then we got to the and many people said, why did it take an hour? How do you, especially seeing blood outside of the house, like Brian Ensign got on camera? Who would take an hour? Now, then last night or yesterday at the presser, that totally shifted. He said they got to the house and discovered she was missing at 11:57 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So we've lost a whole hour now, the controversial hour, and called law enforcement 5 minutes later.
And I just want to remind everybody the very specific timeline that they are referring to is right here. Okay, as you see, on January 31st, 2026 at 5:32, Nancy takes an Uber and travels to her daughter's house. At 9:48, now the first problem I already have at the beginning, in case you guys haven't been here for the other lives since this, the very first problem I have is the 9:48 to 9:50. That's entirely too long. That literally equates to about a step every 10 seconds. It's almost implausible to think that it took 2 solid minutes to go from the garage door going up to the entry door to the inside of the house. There, because that's usually where the button is to close the garage. And they're saying that 9:48, the garage door goes up, and by 9:50, the garage door is going down. So the only other thing I can think of is that after she put the garage door up, she may have had a brief conversation with whomever dropped her off at the house. But that's the first problem. The second problem is on January 1st, you see that the doorbell camera was disconnected at 1:47 in the morning, and her pacemaker stops working, disconnects. That means most likely completely removed from the home around 2:28 in the morning. That's telling me that they had almost 40 to 45 minutes to hang around the house. Who's going to feel that comfortable to be around somebody's house for 45 minutes when they're trying to abduct somebody? If they were going to wait that long around the house, certainly they would have grabbed a bag for her. They would have grabbed her medications. They would have grabbed some other things, which from my knowledge did not happen. All of her belongings, including her medication, were left at the property. 45 minutes is long enough to hurt somebody and try to clean up, just to put that into perspective, okay? Now we get down to the other section from 11:56. We have been told on multiple occasions the family were notified and they were at the house shortly after 11, and that it wasn't until noon that they made the call to law enforcement to send somebody out. And many of us question why it took over an hour to get to call 911. Especially, we started that conversation even more strongly because we saw the blood on the outside of the front door, and clearly immediately we understood if there was blood on the outside of the door, what the inside of that house must look like if the outside of the house looked like that, And so that is where we began talking about this. It just doesn't make sense. Why would an abductor, somebody that's there for a ransom, spend that much time in a house? It does not make sense. I plugged it in into AI. It doesn't make sense for AI either. Betty, check Brian Enton. If you guys are saying that there's more, I just checked it. We know about the FBI. We know about the FBI, the ransom note. We know about the ransom note, folks. We're here on Brian Enton, so we're monitoring the new information. We're aware of the new letter, but it doesn't change the fact of how I feel about it. So has the note that just came in have proof of life? It doesn't say. That's what I was reading the comments for. It doesn't say anything about proof of life that I am aware of. This is all it says. Breaking: the FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department are aware of a new message regarding Nancy Guthrie. Investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity. Interesting. Investigators are actively inspecting the information provided in the message for its authenticity. So there was something contained in the message. Maybe it was a proof of life video. He just put out a YouTube. Let's see what this says.
So we'll see. I believe that we have Jonathan back with us. Jonathan Hunt, he's in Tucson on the ground. Can you tell us anything about this message?
All we know at this point, Jillian, is the confirmation from the sheriff's office here, Pima County Sheriff's, which we're at right now, is that they are, quote, aware of this message and they are actively looking into it. They're trying to establish its authenticity. A lot of questions, obviously. One, and a very important question will be, is this message from the same person or persons as the previous messages, the 3 ransom notes that were sent to TMZ and 2 local TV stations? Is it from the same person? And they'll be able to look at the content of this message and look at things like the writing style, etc. See if there are similarities. They'll obviously be looking at the email address, although that may have been changed if this person or persons are trying to cover their tracks, obviously. So there's a lot they'll want to look at. Now, what we and the Guthrie family certainly would hope is that this new message, if it is authentic, is a response to those video pleas we've seen from the Guthrie siblings, Savannah, Annie, and Camron, for the kidnapper or kidnappers to get in touch directly with them and to send proof of life, to show them, the family, that Nancy Guthrie is alive, that these people or this person has Nancy Guthrie, and that they are genuinely those who have her right now and can therefore return her. So they'll be looking at this very
So we're also
closely
getting
now.
reports that they're back at Nancy's house. So I'm wondering if that's from, is that being reported? Where's that being reported from? So we got a lot of breaking news activity going on right now in the Guthrie case. We've got, right now, investigators are back in.
So all of these sheriff's deputies showed up, and they are now, you see down there, they are closing off the road.
Oh, shit.
And they're making all the media leave this
That's
block.
not
So we're not
good.
going to be able to be in front of the house anymore. They said this is for investigation reasons. And so we don't know what they're about to do with the house, but they don't want the media in front of the house anymore. So basically everybody out here has been told to pack up, and she's saying they need room for their investigators.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for all your hard work. We appreciate all you do for us.
I'm sorry.
On the other side of those cones?
Yeah, see those cones right there?
She said they need room for their investigators to do what they need to do. So something is about to happen out
Something
here
just majorly took place. Guys, you know what? I'm telling you,
They had the crime scene.
I have a funny feeling.
Crime scene, they took it down.
See, this is what I think is going on here. Just my perspective. YouTube. Everybody's saying go to his YouTube. Okay, let me go to Brian Enton YouTube. YouTube Brian Enton. Brian Enton. Is it videos he's... No, I guess he's just putting out videos. Hold on, let's see what kind of videos he's putting out here. His YouTube, he doesn't have anything going on with the YouTube. Nothing was put out for 19 hours. So he's putting out everything pretty much on X right now. It looks like all of his stuff is being put out on X, which I think has to do with his contract with News Nation, because they do pay him to be out there. So he's got to be very careful what's his and what's News Nation. So, at the end of the day, it looks like this is what I think is about to happen. They're about to. I don't think they've done forensics. They're about to light this house up. They're about to cover this whole house. I think they're about to do an entire forensic check of this house, go through everything, do Blue Star, and see, that's the stuff that they don't want, because they got to start blacking out the windows and stuff like that. We've never seen them do that. I didn't hear that the windows, when you start seeing black stuff go up over the windows, forensics is about to go on inside the house. Whatever they're doing out there, not only are they wanting their vehicles to get in there, which I'm pretty sure are going to be crime scene investigators. Okay, that's what I truly believe is going on here. I believe we got crime scene investigators that are about to go into that house and do a lot of forensics in that house. Okay, we've got a new letter from the ransom takers. And then all of a sudden they just roll up on the property. Well, I'd have to think that something is in that letter. Let's process this. How close, cause and effect. Is it coincidental? Is it just it just happens to be right on the heels of this? It seems pretty. I mean, they move these people back very, 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 very quickly after receiving a second ransom letter. Maybe there's something in that ransom letter that is identifying whether this person is legitimate or not. Brian Shorts. Okay, let's see. We got him up. Shorts. Yeah, we already got, okay.
Hey guys, so some breaking news here. There is now apparently a second note that has arrived related to Nancy Guthrie. I'm being told it arrived at a local TV station here in Tucson. They are not releasing the contents of this new message regarding Nancy Guthrie, which is a good thing. I mean, it needs to go through the police. The sheriff's office is now confirming that this exists and that they are looking into it. And this is a big deal because we knew about the first notes that went out, the first ransom notes that went to TMZ and to this same local TV station in Tucson, and we didn't know. The FBI said there was no new communication. Well, now apparently it looks like there is new communication because.
And I'm very interested because, again, we just learned that we heard from the first one, it was very, very, very well written. Almost teacher-like, which just as happens to be, because when people don't realize anyways, I think that there's a lot of more going on with why they're looking at the son-in-law as well. So we've got investigators out. It looks like this next video is the same video we just saw.
Something interesting is happening outside the house.
Yeah, so this is the same one that he just put up on X, which we just watched. So they're moving. If you guys are just coming in, they are moving all of the media back. They've been stationed in front of the house. They are now being asked by law enforcement to move back so they can do their investigation. So whatever they're about to do in the house, they want to make sure nobody is seeing their investigation. Something is seriously going on. So they're either going to be bringing forensics in there and literally seeing, I think they're going to be trying, if they haven't already, I think they're going to be trying to see if Nancy was murdered inside her home and if it was cleaned up, because I have a funny feeling somebody was there for 40 to 45 minutes. Somebody was there for 40 to 45 minutes. Okay? It takes less than a minute to hurt somebody to death, okay? And if you were to do manual, like asphyxiation, maybe 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, whatever the case may be, right? So death is fairly quickly at somebody's hands. Cleanup, on the other hand, not so much. They would not tell us what has been breached in the house, how the person made entry. They will not tell us how many cameras. We have observed a camera being broken. We have observed a security light being broken. We've observed a lot of weird things around that house that looks like somebody tried to obscure who they were or light to shine on them when they went back to the house. So somebody was concerned. People that are burglars and stuff like that are wearing masks and not showing their face, they don't think about stuff like that. I know that was the interesting part. That's exactly what I said, is her husband's a teacher, which, again, I really am starting to believe Ashley Banfield's source, because in all fairness, it makes sense. It just does. I know we want things to come from official sources, but at the end of the day, we're not required to wait for official sources. That's the beauty of freedom of press. And I'm glad there's still some journalists that still believe in that principle. Some people forgot about it, and they're doing stuff that they're being told to do from politicians. You don't do what politicians tell you to do for an interview. You challenge them. That's your job. And it's our job to keep law enforcement accountable as well. So, we have these jobs to do for a purpose. They give us freedom of press for a purpose. But at the end of the day, seriously, it seems like something is seriously heating up in this case. This is the third time back to this house, and they're shutting it down. They're shutting the road down in front of the house. This seems like it is. This is where the rubber meets the road. They need to find something to find out where in the hell Nancy is. They need to determine whether she is dead or alive, and they need to determine what happened to her and who ultimately is responsible for this. That is a huge uphill battle for law enforcement to handle, yet they are going to try their hardest to do it and to do it well. I don't know how well that is going to be. It's getting scary. Yeah, it is. It is. I hear you, Stargaze. It is. It is. So while we wait for new information, guys, be in the chat. Put the stop signs in if new information becomes available. We'll be monitoring the new information in between our conversations with this show, the Megyn Kelly show. As you guys can see, they're about to get into some really good conversations. This is a good piece right here.
At 12:03.
Yeah, I think it was 7 minutes later.
7.
Yeah.
Sorry. My math
Which,
is
by
off.
the way,
my math is off. Okay.
7 is lightning fast.
That's fast. Okay, so it's a dramatic difference. But here, let's just listen. Here's what he had said prior to yesterday. This was the story, SOD 18.
Sometime earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, hey, your mom's not here. The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us. So I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning.
I know that when we got there, the family was already there, and they had already spent some time looking, as you would expect. Probably we got an hour delay there from them. Not anything intentional, just that, they went and looked and made some calls, and then they decided we better call 911.
And at 11:56 a.m., the family checks on Nancy and discovers her missing. And at 12:03 p.m., 911 is called in to the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
What?
Big difference.
Because just to underscore it here, first they got a call from a friend at the church around 11:10. Then he says it was at about 11. Then he told you, that middle clip is on your show. He says they found out about 11 and it was about an hour delay before they called 911. Now, yesterday, he says they checked on Nancy and discovered her missing at 11:57. Right? Is it? It's
11:56, just to be correct. And if you guys want to, this is the timeline. As you see down at the very bottom in the third square, the third tile, it says 11:56. Family checks on Nancy. Okay, now that you guys see that, just want to make sure we're clear. Minutes matter.
7. So that's right number. That's right number.
Yeah, 57. Mm-hmm. So what do you mean? Because we've also, in the midst of all that, had both the Daily Mail and Brian Enton yesterday told us as well, reporting that Nancy Guthrie wasn't going to church physically.
This is where this, again, points back to not just, if true, I have to, keep catalyze, just saying if true, because none of this stuff has been provided to us by law enforcement on the record. Now we're going off of what Ashley Banfield's law enforcement source has told her, and we're trusting that, one, this source exists, two, this source is affiliated and associated with this specific case, like she said at the beginning, we're putting a lot of stock into an anonymous person just off of Ashley's name. And granted, Ashley's been in the business for 40 years, but again, I've seen her do some shenanigans in the business as well. So do I think that she's doing shenanigans here? No, I'm not really getting the vibe that this is shenanigans, because it in my opinion, it does fit. It does fit, but we're just not ready to sign on to it just yet until we get just a tad bit more information. I'm glad she's got the source, but we don't. And I like to follow that stuff through, and I can't because she's got the source, and it's an anonymous source, right? If I had an anonymous source, then that would be great. But I don't have an anonymous source, okay? Not on this one. I don't have a law enforcement anonymous source. Maybe I'll get one if you guys want to be my source and your boots on the ground. It's bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com.
Anymore, and hadn't been since the COVID pandemic, that she'd been joining the live stream the church offers and participating from her home. Moreover, the Daily Mail reports it wasn't a Zoom situation where the congregants could see who was joining virtually. It was just a live stream being blasted out by the church, outgoing only.
And this needs to be clarified, because this goes into who would have called the family from the church to say she never made it to church. And why wouldn't they ask any questions like who this is? I mean, wouldn't they know who her friends are? I mean, if her daughter, if they've lived in the area all this time, who was the one that made the call to them? There has to be a record of that call. And if it's true where the lady didn't physically go to church, they said someone contacted family initially, and now we see that the families just went there to check, suspicious for sure. I'm not sure if they just went to check. They're still saying that somebody from the family or somebody from the church reached out to him, but they're challenging that because they're learning that since COVID, the mom Nancy did not go to church physically anymore, that allegedly she stays at home. And we join a church as well, online as well. And every Sunday you can write or you cannot write in the chat. It doesn't, you don't see who's physically in that chat unless they're engaging with the audience. So there's nobody that could tell who's watching and who's not, who's absent from church and who's not. You see what I'm saying? So who did call? That is exactly right, And if this wasn't a call, or if it was she around her husband at the time she received this call? Because it sounds like the call came into Annie. That's what my understanding was. So, and oh, by the way, Vanny, thank you for that that super chat, by the way. Thank you so much. I think we all kind of feel, like for me, I feel it would definitely be somebody like the son-in-law, somebody that knew her, somebody that was familiar with the home, familiar with the things around the home, such as security system, access points, entry points, where her bedroom was, whether she had animals. No stranger's going to know whether she's got a dog in the house, right? So we're starting to hear. I didn't hear from that. Somebody came in my chat earlier and I'm like, I don't know where you heard that because I went and checked. And we had a statement from the church and everything as if she had attended the church physically. And I showed that as my receipt to why I believe she went to church. And even the sheriff himself said that she drove her car to go to church. And it's like, these are where I'm getting confused. Why is the sheriff making these statements if he doesn't know for a fact? Did he ask? How did she get to church? Was she at church? If she wasn't physically at church, how did somebody know she wasn't at church? I can promise you guys don't know when I show up for church and when I do. Okay? So it's one of those things. And it's just like, I don't... It was me. I got in trouble. Oh, oops. What did you get in trouble doing? Are we to believe that the woman with her issues couldn't walk 50 yards, drove herself to church? Believe it or not, people with mobility issues drive all the time. They have an easier time driving than walking, right? I've seen many people that drive very, very well, but can't walk worth a shit. That needed a laughy. So I do know, because I'm in Florida. We have a lot of elderly people that probably shouldn't be behind a wheel, that can't walk worth crap, but they say they can use their feet. So we keep giving them driver's license. Oh, that didn't work. It's like a weird pause. The sheriff is overwhelmed. I believe that. I think that he is way over. I think I'm glad that it appears that the feds have taken over the case. I think we'll get somewhere. I think that somebody's going to be in a lot of trouble. I think we're going to get down to brass tacks. Was it, we don't need to accuse anybody at this moment, because at the end of the day, I feel like we're going to know more in the coming days. I don't think this, especially with the feds in here, the feds don't play around. They get in, they get out. They don't want to monkey F around. If you lie to them, you're going to jail. If they catch you doing anything wrong, you go to jail. Okay, and you're not going to jail on anything other than federal charges, okay? You do not screw with the feds. You may not break the law, but as soon as you lie to the Fed, you're going to jail. So, they don't mess around. So my point, and the technology that they have are superior. Their technology is so superior that they don't like going to court because they don't want to talk about it, right? So they actually have it all set up that they turn over leads, right? Because they cannot allow, like, when law enforcement policies, practices, and procedures are on front news. Every time that somebody goes to court and it's a crime, a homicide, those officers have to go step by step through every single one of their procedures. If you notice, when it goes to federal court, what is the one thing that you do not ever see in a federal court? A camera. Why? Because if you want to hear about that, you better show up. They're not broadcasting it. They do not allow photography. They do not allow audio, video, or anything to be released from federal courts. Why? Because they keep their crap secret. That's why. With our regular laws, that's why we know we've watched so many trials. We've got the book, okay? We know how law enforcement functions, and that's how we function so well. Especially when we have nobody talking to us, like law enforcement. No law enforcement is talking to us or anything like that. That's when we start looking at their behaviors, because we have it such down pat. We can know what phase of the investigation that they're in based on their behaviors, not their words. And that's how we're able to advise our audience so well, is because of studying those behaviors. So when you see that they're moving people back so they can't see what they're doing, it kind of sucks, because this is important. This tells me what phase that they're in. But if I had to guess, this is the phase where they got the full carte blanche subpoena to go in there and forensic this house. This is hours long process, but the best time to do it is around nighttime. Because they can turn lights off. You can't see what they're doing. They put plastic up all over the windows. You can't tell when the lights are on. You can't tell when the lights are off. They're in there processing the scene, pulling things out, pulling the drywall out. We've seen bags of evidence come out, but we haven't heard of any drains coming out. We haven't heard of any door handles coming off doors. We haven't heard of any drywall being cut out of the house and taken with it. Like, those are things that need to go. They got to take those walls out of there. If the walls got blood smear on it, that's got to go. It's got to be cut out. It's got to be taken down to a lab. There's just a lot of stuff that they've got to go in there. Now I think they're bringing in the real forensic team to go in there, pushing people back. That tells me they're bringing some stuff in there. So I'm just telling you what I feel is going on. Does that make it so? It does not. It just doesn't make it so. So let's keep going here. Let me see what we got. Brian, if Brian Enton's got any more stuff that we can...
So something interesting is happening outside the house. So all of these sheriff's deputies showed up.
Okay, so it looks like...
And they are now, you see down.
Sorry. It's not really wanting. So it looks like, do we have any more news? So that's it for him. Let's see what we got on his X account, just to be on the safe side, and then we'll get back to... So hard when we have breaking news. Okay, so it's chill for right now. I'm going to rely on you guys and the red buttons if there's breaking news.
And therefore, no one would be aware of whether Nancy was participating or not. So how do we go from... She talked to a friend who was concerned at the church, which you heard him say on camera there.
Yep.
And they took him an hour, and then they called 911, to now it's they checked on Nancy and discovered her missing, and within moments called 911.
Yeah, I think these are all things that lead to an even bigger mystery and a little confusion. I always give law enforcement grace when there's so much going on and there's an exigent circumstance, and now all these ransom notes, which have taken law enforcement's direction elsewhere.
This is inexcusable. Somebody should not have these fine details muddled up. These are important details, and if you're going to say this, you need to know what the hell you're saying.
Let's be honest. This is awful. These ransom notes, especially the one in California, if this guy is guilty of this, it has taken their attention away. But it's a,
I don't want to be rude. I like him. His heart's in the right spot.
Communication breakdown. There's other agencies coming in, sharing of information, maybe telephone.
I think that's what the problem was and why the FBI.
But I do think that it adds to another element of confusion about this.
I think you're being too nice in this situation. With all due respect to the sheriff, you know as well as I do, the time she was discovered missing is very important.
It's critical.
It's critical. It's critical. It's as critical as the last person to see the person alive. Who was the one that found that they were missing? Who was the one that sparked the conversation to go up there? This is important information that needs to be ultra clear. And I think the reason why it's not ultra clear is because, and this is the kind of investigation I truly believe Sebastian Rogers is getting in Sumner County. We need somebody above Sumner County to come in and do the freaking investigation. I don't even think that they've processed that house properly. And it's been almost 2 years. That's how bad I think that the investigation into Sebastian Rogers has been. I think it's just as bad.
Not fog of war. It is not fog of war. That you know.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. Maybe the dissemination of it was, though. The only grace I give is that it is a complicated task that they're undergoing, and we don't make it
Nobody
easier.
asked about it. Somebody in that room needed.
Yeah, Megyn Kelly is spot on with this. Her criticism on where is the media out there and why aren't they asking these questions? You're talking about somebody reaching out to somebody saying that she needed to go to church, or she wasn't in church, and that's what prompted the house visit, that it took them almost an hour after arriving there before they called law enforcement. That is a huge difference than just going over to the house and realizing she is gone. Which is it? This is important, because if somebody called them, who from the church called them if she was going to church online? If it wasn't, then who prompted them to go over to the house when they just saw her at dinner the night before? It just doesn't make sense. Somebody has to have an explanation for this, and they didn't mind providing it, and what they provided was all messed up, and it doesn't appear to hold water.
Needed to say.
And let's remind you guys that this is coming from official sources, and they've got it all muddled up.
You've adjusted the timeline dramatically, Sheriff. Why?
Yeah. No, there was lots that I wish they'd followed up on the car being towed and being processed by warrant. I mean, where was that? Like, hold it.
You and I are going to have to fly out there.
It's been processed by warrant. That's the catalyst. That's the important part with that car. It was being processed by warrant. And I'm not sure if that's the same thing as a subpoena or warrant. If they have to use warrant versus subpoena, what's that process? Processing it by warrant. She's that for them to have a warrant, they'd have to show probable cause to process it. I think that's the point she's trying to make. It's by warrant. They had to go to a court and explain to them why they need to process that. But I still think that they would have had the probable cause to process that car because she was last in it.
For the next one. Literally, I think you and I are going to have to fly out there together for the next one. That's at least 4 questions, 2 for you and 2 for me. Yeah, seriously. Like I was very frustrated because it was like, that's an obvious one. Ask that. And the one about the car was the other one. Like he just sort of elided around it. It was like,
yeah,
car, standard search warrant, court orders,
the house,
crime scene.
not which house.
Wait.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I know.
Nancy's house is the crime scene. Was it towed from Nancy's house or was it towed from Annie's house, Sheriff?
See, that's an important thing, too, because they're not only saying that it was a car that was taken by warrant, but that it was taken by warrant from another home, not from Nancy's house.
And whose car was it? What? And if it's Annie's, why are you towing Annie's car?
I only
2006.
think that since many of the
2006
breaking pieces of information that I had were addressed bullet by bullet in that news conference.
Yes,
that when he said
he did that right at the top,
being towed, I assumed that was because I reported that Annie's car has been towed and is now in evidence. I assumed that's what he was saying because he said the car towed from the house. That's standard as per warrant. It's being processed. So he didn't say from Nancy's house. He didn't say from Annie's house. I can only go on. He was bulleting my my reports and trying to knock them down. But did you hear what he said about the cameras? Something else I picked up on.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, big time.
Right, before we talk about the cameras, let me just say quickly, we actually did reach out. We went and tried to pull the warrants to see if they were public. They're under seal, so we can't.
So all the warrants are under seal.
Get them right now to see exactly what they got a warrant.
Which is pretty interesting because I wonder who else they're looking into, and if we're going to find those warrants have Tommaso's name on them.
But let's talk about the cameras because that's another piece of your reporting that has come under fire. First, tell us what your reporting is, and then we'll talk about what he said.
So the exact words that were used is that the Nest, and I was told Nest cameras, that was the first time that they'd been named. They weren't Ring cameras. They were Nest cameras, plural, were smashed. That was the wording. Nest cameras were smashed. And when asked about that, the sheriff said, well, first he had reported they were removed and in the timeline called them disconnected. But when asked about them being smashed, he said, smashed. I don't know where you got the information about smashed, but we're not confirming that. And then, and then
they didn't confirm a lot, but they didn't deny it. And they while they didn't, and one of the things that I stated on here is that when the sheriff identified that they had not named a suspect or even a person of interest, they never stated he was cleared, and then further stated down a few minutes later that nobody's cleared. So still saying the son-in-law is definitely being looked at along with other people, but he's not cleared. And they wanted to make that very clear. They're not saying he's a person of interest, but nobody's cleared. I don't think that could be any clearer to people, in my opinion.
He did confirm it is plural, that there were more than one. And that was something that I reported, that there wasn't just the one that Brian Enton saw the bracket left behind. By the way, he went further about that. And it was interesting. He said, regarding the disconnected camera, do you believe that camera was taken?
Thank you.
And the sheriff said, we do not have it in our possession. We have not located it. So does that mean that the perpetrator smashed those cameras off the brackets and took them away? Maybe he just doesn't.
Clearly, here he is. Let me play for the audience. It's SOT 14. It's a montage.
Sunday morning, early morning at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnects. The doorbell camera, it was removed. We know that, but we're not confirming that any cameras were smashed or destroyed around the house. I don't know where that came from, but that's something we're not confirming.
When you say the doorbell camera was disconnected, do you believe that camera was taken?
We do not have it in our possession. We've not located it.
It's a yes.
Well, I mean, it's off the bracket. How do you get it off the bracket? Do you bring a screwdriver or do you smash it? Or is this semantics? I don't know. But to me, it was pretty telling that that's more of my reporting that has borne out.
Mm-hmm. And then we were able to get to the bottom of yesterday. We got very.
So, so far, you guys understand that prior to this, we didn't know these things. And even though they're not being reported by law enforcement, the stuff that is being reported by law enforcement after her statements have turned out to be true. They do have Annie's car. We didn't know that prior to her reporting. Nobody reported that the car was being impounded and logged in as evidence. That was released by Ashley Banfield. She broke that story. She broke that story on her YouTube channel, Drop Dead Serious. So again, it's kind of hard to dismiss this uneasy feeling about the son-in-law dropping this 84-year-old grandmother off alone, and then all of a sudden she disappears and is never seen again, and now we have ransom notes coming in. And we are learning from Harvey Levin that these ransom notes are well written, constructed very, very professionally, almost like instructor-like, that is a very interesting statement to make in light of who the son-in-law is. Being a teacher at a university, being somebody that writes, that has helped his wife with her poetry writing. You're talking about a person that has very good English punctuation and everything else. This is concerning. How did they come to know that Nancy was missing? I think we need to come back down to that. Anyways, guys, these are things that we're going to keep asking ourselves. I'm going to finish up this segment, and then we're going to let you guys go. We'll be back here first thing tomorrow morning. It is 6:17 Friday night, TGIF. You guys have all made it through another work week. Give yourself a break. Enjoy your family. Love your family. And again, don't be so hard on yourself.
Very confused as we looked at the timeline that they put up about how he was saying the doorbell cameras were disconnected, and then minutes later there was a picture captured of a person.
No, not a picture.
They don't have the image because
it's the alert.
No, I know, but there was an alert. Yeah. The point is not whether it was a picture or a written text. The point is that they got a communication from a camera.
Yeah.
After they said the doorbell cameras were disconnected,
so
which was confusing. And what they said was there were other cameras. That was basically the explanation. We reached out to the FBI. We reached out to the sheriff's office. We went back and watched the end of the presser where they did reference there being more than just the doorbell cameras. And
so now you've got not only the impounded car, now they're acknowledging multiple cameras around the house, even though they refused to acknowledge that they were smashed, and they refused to acknowledge the entry into the house. But at the end of the day, there's only several entries into the house. The garage, the front door, which we observed no damage to that front door whatsoever, only the blood on the outside of the house by that front door, and the missing Nest camera.
And the sheriff's office too clarified basically there were other cameras, and it was one of these other cameras that alerted them to the image of a person. The sheriff later said could have been an animal too.
Alerted to activity,
at the house.
And the secret is here, and it's a great message to everybody who's watching and listening. If you have a doorbell service of some kind, whether it's Nest, Ring.com, or any of the services, you pay for a subscription to be able to get your history, or for many of them, it's just a live alert. There's someone at your door right now. You can look and you might be able to talk to them. But once that's done, it's gone. You don't have an archive of it. So if you come home and you wonder who is skulking around your front door, unfortunately, if you don't have the service, the subscription, you can't go back and look at all the alerts and what they actually recorded. And
that's so stupid. Who would want that? I mean, if you're putting cameras around your house, you would want them to record. Who ended her subscription?
Was what I think they were trying to tell us.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency, tax-sheltered retirement customers. Consider.
That's it. Okay. All right. So you guys got the gist of it. You know, they were basically, if you guys want to know who this Yahoo is, he's the one that's in jail right now for trying to scam the Bitcoin and take over the heist of the whatever. Anyways, long story short, it is still my position. This is not a ransom. But, you know, I mean, truth is stranger than fiction, so there's always going to be a until we know what happened to her, there's always going to be the possibility of it being a ransom, but I just don't believe it is for a variety of reasons. I just don't believe it is. What would make the son-in-law attack his mother-in-law? I don't know. If he ended up doing that, I don't know why he would do it. The only thing I can think of is resentment. They're the only ones taking care of her. The other families just, you know, they're living their life. They've got money. They've got, you know, and they're the ones that, you know, could look at her as a burden, in my opinion. Do they look at her as a burden? I don't know. I'm not them. I'm trying to, you know, just speculate what would make a son-in-law attack his mother-in-law. You know, was this mutual? You know, I'm still concerned because I'm still not feeling you know, so warm and fuzzy about the sis either, you know. So I'd just like to see more to close some of these worry boxes that I do have that have been raised about this case, you know. What else do we have here? This was no, that's she didn't get put into custody. There's Christine Randall. Everybody's still a suspect. Derek Kalela was arrested for allegedly texting Annie Guthrie and Tommaso Cioni. He must be the one of trying to get the Bitcoin. That was the pronunciation of his name. Let's just look at Brian Enton real quick before we close out. I'm just checking everything before we close out to make sure nothing major is going on. Hold on, here we go. We got it. The second note went to KOLD TV station in Tucson. They said the IP address is not the same IP address as the initial note, but it appears the sender used the same type of secured server to hide their IP address. The new note contains something the sender seems to think will prove to investigators they are the same people who sent the first note. So there you guys have it for some more updated information. It looks like a little tidbit of information is coming out little by slow. Okay, check your text messages. See what we got going on here. Okay. Residents in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood received this letter today. Our crews are on scene, says more. PCSA have shown up and they have closed the area off, pushing media further back. Okay, here's the note. Here's what the note said. Let me go back over here. We're getting some breaking news information, guys. Breaking news information on the Nancy Guthrie case. So, February 6, 2024, it says, we received notification from the sheriff's office that they and the FBI will be resuming searches on properties in the area starting immediately. They will most likely be searching property west of Campbell and requesting we contact our CFA residents for awareness. Thank you for your support for this effort. A note from our CFA president. Oh, sorry. And the CFA stands for Catalina Foothills Association. And they say, I know we are all standing together on our collective disbelief and sadness and great appreciation, your willingness to speak with law enforcement, share camera images, and allow searches of your property. Some of you have spoken with the media, and we appreciate you helping keep this story in front of those who may have tips to share. Tom Pugh has graciously agreed to speak on behalf of the Catalina Foothill Association for inquiries coming through CFA, as there has been many. The CFA does not have any information beyond what is being shared by the Sheriff's Department in its media updates, but we will fully cooperate if called upon for assistance. So that is, and that I missed this one paragraph. Our community is deeply shaken and heartbroken by the disappearance and reported abduction of our friend and neighbor, Nancy Guthrie. Many of you have known and have been friends with Nancy for many years. Our heart goes out to her family. So there you go. We've got her HOA community, it looks like, reaching out and giving a statement on her behalf. Okay, what is this? Check text, Sonny, we did the same. Unique emoji. Oh, you guys are cray-cray. You guys are cray-cray. So that's where we're at in this story, guys. A lot of information is coming out. I guess we're going to be finding out. It sounds like this is still a very fluid situation as they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on in Nancy's orbit. You know, what happened? Is it somebody close to her? Is this really truly somebody trying to get a ransom? I don't know. But the FBI has a $50,000 reward, guys. If you know anything, please reach out to your local law enforcement, 911 or 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Live now, Fox's ongoing drone footage from above the home right now. I'm not going to pull it. It's been a long day for me. I've been working on this. I will watch it. Tomorrow is Saturday morning. We will be going live a little earlier on Saturday. Saturday is Delilah's day. She has a play date. It's a standing play date every Saturday, so we do a little early live. So anything that I missed tonight on an update, we will make sure we cover first thing in the morning. If you guys are new to this show, thank you and welcome aboard. I appreciate you. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We are going to take some time to go over your emails. I've gotten a lot of emails with a lot of perspectives, a lot of good stuff that I think our audience would like to hear. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to it. Some of the stuff may be outdated, but we'll go through all of it anyways. I've been keeping copious notes and plugging this stuff into my database so we have a searchable database at a later time. But right now, if you guys hear anything or see anything or know anything, please reach out to me or my mods. Mostly, if you guys reach out on anything but email, my mods are going to kill me. Reach out to my mods so they can get a hold of me, right? But because the only way you're going to get a hold of me is by text or email. Everybody tries to send me messages through Twitter and all these other places, and I get to them, and sometimes I get to them days later. The best way to get a hold of me is by text or email, and the only people that have my text are my mods. And everybody else has my email. So you guys should be able to get a hold of me. But if you guys are sending me stuff, my mom just told me, she's like, did you get my messages? I said, what messages? She goes, on Bullhorn Betty. I said, are you sending those to me through Messenger? She goes, yeah. I said, Ma. I said, I don't get messages on Messenger. I'm like, so I feel bad. My poor mom's been reaching out to me for days. My poor mom's been reaching out. Okay, oh, thank you. It's okay. I don't mind. So reach out to the Real Me Too. Reach out to the Real Me Too. She'll be able to help you and get some information to me. But if it's breaking and whatnot. But it was just funny. My mom's telling me this, and I feel bad. My mom's been trying to get a hold of me. I've been ignoring Mom. You know, she knows better. She started sending them to me by text message. I just saw the chihuahuas come in. So she finally sending them to me, so I know she's sending them to me. Anyways, guys, we'll see. Poor Bullhorn Mama Bullhorn. Yeah, I know, right? And I even asked her, I said, hey, Ma, how you feeling? You feeling like going on a road trip? I said, I got to go to South Carolina. You want to come with me? She's like, no. I said, okay, I love you. She's like, I love you too. Don't let the what is it? Don't let the door hit you with the good Lord split you. There you go. That's what she was telling me. She's booting me out. Sonia, yes, no yelling. Enjoy your night, Betty. Love. Oh, thank you guys. I'm exhausted. Today's been such a long day. I just want to see if we are missing anything. I don't want to miss any stuff. So it sounds like this new updated email. So I'm interested to see how all this is working out. You know what I'd like to know? Who do you think it is? Send me some emails. Send me some emails. Well, if you're in Columbia, Evan baby, I'm going to be doing something out there. We're probably going to go to do a dinner or something like that. Anyways, all right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. I'll see you guys later, and we'll have some breaking news update first thing in the morning. So be there, be square. Don't know what to say. Love ya.